right, guys. I think we're live right now. It should be coming through on your end. What is up, Chaz Purcell? Let's see who all we got in the house today. Let me go over here so I can see the chat. I hope everybody's doing good after the big drop. I don't think that we should be fearful. I think that we should all be feeling upbeat because everything is going just fine. So do share this live with your friends. Comment down below so they can see that we are here today, and hopefully the stream gets shared with more people. Again, I hope that everybody's doing well out there. It was a big drop that we had in the charts, and it was quite scary. But the good thing is I think we've been talking about kind of that risk of downside for a little bit now. So I hope that everybody's at least stayed protected, or, you know, possibly did some de-risking of bags and things that we might have talked about being at resistances. So far, though, you know, we're just letting the dust settle out there and waiting for some ranges to take place. So we will go over Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then we will cover you guys' chart requests. So it looks like so far we got Chaz in the house. How are you, buddy? I hope you're doing okay. Let me write down those coins for you. You wanted to go over VELO, ALGO. Since you have so many, dude, I'm going to wait and have you just put one at a time, because we might end up with a lot of people, you know what I mean, and a lot of chart requests. I try to not do too many off one person right out the gate. I'd like to give everybody a chance to get one in, dude. Stank, do you have any charts today, my dude? What's up, Addy? How have you been? Things are pretty good my end. I would like to say a big thank you to you guys for coming. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, CACU and Chaz and Stank. You guys are always here. Feels so good to be supported by some people. Hey, what's up, Six? I hope you're doing well, man. My day started off pretty mellow. We had today's a school day, so we had to get 2 kids to school, and then 2 kids started in homeschool, and then try to get the 2-year-old baby under control so all 5 of them get settled for the day. It can be quite exhausting. I don't know if any of you guys have kids out there, but man, they're the glory of the world, but at the same time, they are so exhausting. All right, we got that down for Chaz. For Stank, I got Miner written down. Good to see you again, Stank. Hope you're doing good, sir. All right, what else do we got here? We got Hype. Yep, all right. CACU's asking for Hype, so let's get that written down. Looking to hit 0.618 in the 5-wave up. I think you have it as ABC up. Thinking about shorting the top. Yeah, let's take a peek at it. And that's for CACU. All right, guys. So if you could share this stream with people, do comment on the stream. Hit some emotion reactions if you feel so necessary during the stream. And just keep chatting while I go on. Your chatting actually helps other people see the stream. So what we're going to do is talk about our Bitcoin scenarios here first. After I finish Bitcoin, we will go talk about what we have going on to Ethereum, and then we will move into your altcoin requests, okay? So let me know in the chats, guys. I switched my mouse. Maybe it's not as loud. You might not be able to hear it today as loud as my mechanical mouse was. If you appreciate that, let me know. And if it doesn't make a shit of difference to you, let me know too. All right, let's delete everything and let's talk freely here about Bitcoin, okay? So a couple of the things that we should be noting to the downside as we see Bitcoin price progressing was a pullback and a high in 3, right? And then we start to see what? Displacement, right? We start to see strong separation to the downside. Yes? So the thing that we should be looking for after strong separation is a range, and we get that. Now, there's a couple ways that we could talk about this panning out, and I will talk about them kind of in the way that I think is the most probable scenarios, and then we'll go from there, okay? So I think that wave 5 of the Bitcoin cycle topped here. Yes? I know it's not a popular opinion, But I often find myself thinking, you know what? It's better to be prepared for a shitty situation than to get punched in the face by it and then be screwed later. Yes? So for me, I'm going to go with the cycle top as my most probable scenario for now. And then we will talk about this downtrend that we see so far. So when we're looking at this trend to the downside, let's turn off this so we have a little bit more room. The thing that we like here is a clear, clean 5 waves down, right? And then we see chop, chop, chop. It's likely a B wave. And then a sharp 5 displacing waves to the downside. In the Discord community, we took a short in the 1-2 stacking, and we took another short here in the running flat that we had within a potential wave 4 before the final 5th to the downside. Now, if this is true, and this is an ABC to the downside, right? A large part of me wants to say if it's the first leg in a correction, that's a W. Now, X can be in here, and we can be done, and we're looking for Y, right? So in the worst case scenario, we'll share that first, and that is where this Y comes in. Now, so when we measure from the highs to the lows, we're looking for the resistance of that X to get into this 382 zone, yes? But typically, we're not going to see them get up to 702. If they hit the 702, we start to expect different structures. But because this X was a potential WXY within an X wave that only comes to a 382, we expect to see a double zigzag sharp structure to the downside. So A, B, C, and W, WXY within X, looking for 1 through 1.236 as the most typical area of interest, right? In a Y leg. So this is like your oh shit, right? Something big's coming. Now, in that Y leg, you're again going to be looking for what? Another ABC, right? So we're looking for 5 waves down, 3 waves up, and 5 waves down in a sharp double zigzag formation. So there's our first scenario that I think we should really be looking out for. Then there's another part of me that says, if we look at this and we're asking ourselves, how can we make this more complicated, right? Because everybody's team downside right now, right? Everybody and their brothers. Let's slide this over actually to see if it aligns with the wick here. We had just missed the 0.618 on that structure. So it's okay. But typically, if this is going to be 5 finished waves down of what we'll talk about later in a greater count, we typically hit this 0.618. So if one way is to extend this would-be range, it would be to extend the X wave, yes? And then we talk about an ABC later. So let's stay focused here and say, hey, what if you had a WXY with an A, and then you made a B wave, and then you make a C wave in X? This is very plausible in an expanded flat, but the issue that I'm seeing is if we measure time and correction, so from the lows of W to the highs of A, we can see that this correction was in before a 382. The minimum time in that correction should be somewhere on February 4th, this coming Wednesday. If that's true, we could see one more local low here to get us past this correction point. Yes, past the 382 in time. Putting in our low for the week, likely this Wednesday, before a strong upward motion in a C wave, which would then convince what? Many people that the low's in, right? Because as soon as a new trader sees 5 waves off a low, they're going to tell you, wow, that's the low in. I'm going to wait for an ABC. I'm going to buy this and I'm going to ride it to the moon because that was the best long of the cycle, right? But in all reality, that ABC doesn't come. Yes, and the reason why is because all you did was extend the range in the X. Now, these aren't drawn to scale. It's just on here. We can get it more more to scale and more to the dollar as we go. But overall, after that, because of the high retracement in X, you're looking for an A, B, and a flat, and a C, and a Y. This would absolutely clean out traders. The reason why is because they would see 5 up, 3 back, and then they would see another strong motion to the upside, right? And they would tell themselves, oh my God, we're going to the moon. Everything's going to be okay. We're only team up from here, yeah? So I don't believe that. I would rather stay fixated that we are extending the range, that the cycle high is in. So my 2 primary counts would be these, right? And this is how that target box from our original target does make a change and gets a little higher, right? So to where we just sweep the lows of W, right, as a pivot. You might not take the lows of the B wave expansion in the Y, because the Y can be a flat, which is an expanded flat is the most common, or we can see it formed in a triangle, which is more rare. Yes, so if this gives you A, and then around a golden pocket retrace, golden pocket retrace, golden pocket retrace, golden pocket retrace, then you could have a Y leg that holds really shallow in a triangle and trends around the 786 to 618 extension, right? So we'll get deeper into these scenarios as they progress, but for right now, that's my 2 kind of primaries. Now let's talk about the one that we've seen quite a bit shared in Discord. We're gonna have to moosh our screen up a little bit for this. This would be that this is a C wave to the downside, yes? That's what you're gonna see a lot of people throwing around. And this is C, right? Now, if that's true, great. The most common thing to happen is to see C take the lows of A. Yes? Without this taking the lows, oopsie, I don't know what I just did. I pushed a hotkey on my computer and lost you guys. I won't do that again. I hope the stream's still up. Let me know, guys, if it's still showing on your end. Pushed Alt-H on my keyboard, or Option-H, and it completely changed things. So in an expanded flat, which is most common flat, right? So A down in 3, B up in 3, and 5 down in C, we typically, take the lows of A in the most common kind of setup that you would have here. So whether you want to argue that this is an ABC to the downside or this was a complicated 3 in A, I don't really care. It doesn't change the math a lot. You go from 0 to A to B, and you look at these extensions to the downside. Now, my best bet would be that C likely isn't over until you find the 1.618 around 67,000. That would backtest this area of internal fair value gap left behind, right? So when we look at this region on the chart, where the fuck is it? Come on, Ricky. Here she is. We pop this guy on so that we can see where we had the breakout, right? Yes, we backtested it, but this left behind liquidity. Not only external, but internal because of the big breaker bar that was made right here, right? Breaks out, backtest, and go. Leaves liquidity. Falls back to it, goes. Falls back to it. I think this time we might step in there, right? Clean it out, backtest these externals, maybe even a wick into this next internal. Because, right, we do have extensions and we do have mathematical probability. But the thing here to remember is that we also have a highly leveraged market that might step past the normal extensions and normal mathematical moves. So in this C wave, you're going to see kind of the labeling out there in the Discord right now is something like this. And going for 5, right? We can even see here maybe a 1 into 2, but we have no range of a 4, right? So we still would expect another low in the 5 of the C. Yes, so wave 5 of C, if that makes any sense. So I don't think it's over yet, even in this scenario. Now, the other thing that we can do that's really helpful here is you can add a channel onto an expanded correction from your 0 point to the highs of your 4. This is a Jeffrey Kennedy method, to the lows of the A. At this point, we look for supports at the lows of the channel. We have a lot of confluence here with the expanded channel and the 1.618. Yes, so I would say 67,935, if not a wick, cleaning people out down to 64, unfortunately. Now, we can kind of start to look into this possible C leg to the downside in this scenario or setup, and we have to give credit to the potential. I'm going to move that up 1 pivot to the highest high of the potential 2. Maybe this is 333 WXY, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with 5 of 5. Let's see if there's a divergence. You have a divergence on the RSI on the lows. Let's check the volume. You still have really high selling volume coming in. Sorry that I had my red box over it. But you can see we're not really diverging into these lows yet, right? Yes, we've dropped off a little bit, but we still had pretty good sell volume here. So this may have been the wave 3 of the wave 3 of C, if that makes sense. So right now what we're looking for likely would then be 2, 3, 2, 3, 6, 3, 8, 2. With this being the potential prior degree wave 4, they might pull it up high like that to reinvestigate that prior degrees wave 4 before the final 5th down. So let's make these yellow so that you can differentiate. And if that's true, you're just looking for a range, an easy invalidation, not per kind of anything that I put the data together on, but other people. Cohen's is a great Elliott wave trader if you're ever looking for one to watch. He came up with this whole probability shift point at the 0.618 for a wave 4. He said that he discussed it with Robert Frost, or not Robert Frost, the other fellow, Prechter, and they talked about it over dinner, I guess, over a vacation, and saying that neither of them have seen wave 4s that typically come to that 0.618 invalidation. So I think that it can still be probable once it passes there. Technically, the hard invalidation for this scenario is at 87,174, but the probability shift point would be here, right? You start to hit this, it's likely the lows in another one of the scenarios that we talked about recently. So we're looking for a 4 and a 3-wave pullback. We're also looking for the 4 to typically do what? Give a hidden bear divergence between the 2 and the 4. So until this RSI kind of chugs its way up here and makes that hidden bear, meaning higher highs on the RSI, but not on price action, and we do some sort of wobbly shit like this, right? And we give some sort of relevant time of 2 to 4. Until we have that, I just don't think we're there yet, right? I'm definitely not trying to short this. Even the low time frame is kind of getting that displacement, right? I don't think that we need to go into the hourly and count it. But overall, I think those are the kind of 3 scenarios that I would look for. Again, I don't like this one as much. Main reason why, we'll look at it again for 2 reasons. One is time, and one is the base channel per Jeffrey Kennedy is a 0 to 2 to 1 of the golden count. Wave 4 not only came into the base channel, which it typically doesn't, it typically back tested as resistance, maybe makes it to the center line, and then makes a new low. In this scenario, it fucking blew out the base channel and comes out the backside like it didn't matter, right? The next thing is time. So if this is wave 1 from the top to the lows of 1, or excuse me, I'm putting this on wrong. We're going to measure 2. Had a little too much relaxation this morning, if you catch my drift. All right. So let's replicate this over. And invalidation technically isn't until 6 in time, which we were before. And even then it's not invalidation, it's just a probability shift point. So just stay mellow on that. What we do like, what's going on the RSI, let's check here. We have a RSI, excuse me, in oversold conditions, under 30 on a daily, and it's formed a pivot at 23.26. Yes? Let's check our one prior. And this one is 23.25. So now you're going to hear people say right or wrong. I would love to hear you guys' opinion. Some people would say no divergence. I'm going to say you're beginning to form an exaggerated divergence here. Nearly identical lows, if not a smidgen higher on RSI, but not on price action, right? The other thing is this blob of volume, excuse so many clicks, I'm new at this mouse, is smaller than that little blob. And its overall reach was higher. So we are making a momentum divergence in the range. I don't like it as a 4, but I would say even on the micro, we're biased to see a move to 82.416. I think even at Jalapeno in the Discord was calling out something like this before a further motion in 5 to the downside. Great. If we get that short, that's amazing, but let's wait for a range of 2 to 4 so that we can come after that, right? The other thing that I would like to say is if we're wrong, and it's another one of the scenarios, right? So let's delete everything. Let's say this truly is the W, the X, and it's making the Y, right? You would still wait for 5 down in A before the B into the C of Y. So regardless, this is kind of a critical pivot zone for a lot of scenarios there that we just talked. Another thing to consider was what if the range extends, right? So an A into a B. Granted, we need a little bit more time, but even that one needs to drag ass, needs to make another low past the 382, and then we can expect a move up, and then a potential move to the downside, an expanded flat. Whether it takes the lows of W, we don't know. Yes? And if anybody has any questions over Bitcoin, do let me know, and we can go back and cover those. I hope everybody's having the most amazing day out there. So far, that's everything that I have over Bitcoin. Let me write down so that I know I did it. And we're going to move into Ethereum, and then I'll come back after Ethereum, and we'll reread the chats, guys. But please do get your chart requests in the chats. Where are you guys all coming from country-wise today? And how's your week starting off, man? Sorry, I need another sip. Today I'm having an amazing drink. Something that I love is an Arnold Palmer. It is lemonade with tea. This is the sparkling variety. I absolutely love it. Keeps you crisp during your long talks. All right, so let's move over to Ethereum. We had some big chart requests coming in for this yesterday in the Discord, so I already have it all pretty well. Maybe the whole weekend people were generally asking. So we've already got this done basically, but let's walk through it. So on Ethereum, we have 2 scenarios that we're looking at, right? Now, they kind of both tie into the weekly, and you have to decide who you are on a weekly, and then move from there, right? So that's your choice to make, what you want your count to be on a weekly. Know that it will greatly affect everything that you do from there because it's your 1 degree higher. So the biggest takeaway is that if our 1 degree higher says that this is potentially the end of something, that would be bearish. Yes? But if it's 1 degree higher and this was the end of something, well, grand. This is the start, a pullback, and then we're looking for a strong leg to the upside. Yes? So in this motion from the highs, this is why I am bullish on Ethereum. I've been very open in the Discord. I might have been wrong on one of my scenarios, and we can go back and cover that, and we'll talk about why I was wrong. But I bought 2 bags of Ethereum at those lows, and I'm totally holding on to them, right? And I'm cool with admitting it. I'm currently down 16, 17% on my Ethereum spot bags, and I'm holding them. The reason I'm holding them is because I like that we made the high and then made a 3-wave motion down, right? Because of that, I think there's most probability to take this high, and I'm not talking about with a little fucking peep. I'm talking about a push, right? A real strong motion toward the upside in a 5-wave motion, and this just being wave 1 of wave 5. I want to be a bull. Don't be biased like me. Don't let me bias you. And please remember, what did I just click? That's what it was. Please remember that everybody has their own trading plan, so I advise you to make your own. But this is mine. On Ethereum, I'm looking at 3 waves down on Ethereum, and then a horrible 3-wave motion to the upside and 3 to the downside. And then I am saying this is hard invalidation for my play. Yes? So because of that, we'll zoom in on the daily. And we'll talk about these 2 moves off the low. So when this move was coming up early in the season, I thought this was a wave 1 into a 2. The problem was a 3-wave pullback that was way before it should have been in time, right? And when that happens, it's likely that my count was wrong, right? So I thought this was wave 1, wave 2, and we were blasting off in a 3, we're going to make a 4 and another high, right? That's what my main bags were holding for. And when that plan got canceled by retracing too deeply, I had to sell, right? So no, I didn't catch the tops, but I did de-risk as we started to move down. Now, what I do like about this motion to the downside, excuse me, my sinuses are acting up, is that we have a potential prior 5-wave motion. Now, I don't want to side with the ABC, though it can be that, and we'll talk about that as we go also. But I side with a 5-wave motion up. We're looking for retracement support. Let me put a new one on so you guys can see it while we're zoomed in. And we'll put it from low to high, yes? And it's very easy to place your fib retracement tool at your third toolbar down on the left, and you choose fib retracement right there. Bam. We're already at the golden pocket at 2,255, and we're finding amazing support. So I think we're looking for this potential motion towards the downside in C to a confluence of retracements and extensions, right? And we'll replace these extensions so you can see them here on the lower daily time frame from 0 to A to the highest high of the B. We can see reactions at the 618. The next area of interest that I have for Ethereum is 2,110. I closed a short yesterday on Ethereum at 2,173 was my goal. I unfortunately missed that low by $10 or something like this. So it's no big deal. We're never going to catch the absolute bottom when we sell our shorts, and we're never going to catch the absolute top when we sell our longs, right? We're just here to try to make as much as we can. Now, the next thing that I really like to do with moves like this is corrective motions, is go from the highs to the connector to the lows and see how we have channel reactions. We're not to the bottom of the channel yet, but we did have really decent center line reactions, right? So something to be aware of. The C wave itself is likely 5 waves to the downside, right? So if you have a wave 1, maybe that's 5. This will be a really short correction nonetheless. You can see we come to 1.618, justifying the potential that this is impulsive to the downside. So we're going to switch to our impulsive trend-based fib extensions and also place our invalidations moving forwards for the bears. We're going to turn on our wave 4 retracements, and we're going to add to it the 0.618. Make it red so we can see it clean and crisp. That's our invalidation for getting that one low for why I'm buying Ethereum, right? So I think it's a massive spot buying opportunity here on Ethereum. And that's how I'm playing it. So if I pass this up, meaning pass up 2,672, I'm not siding with another low here in the C wave, and I'll have to figure out what's going on, and we'll do a recount. And in that, we might be looking at some sort of convoluted W, X, and Y to the downside, and maybe this is an ABC and a flat, but it's something we'd have to dig into more. Nonetheless, I believe for Ethereum, we're looking at a wave 1 into a wave 2. We have a really deep hidden bull reset on the RSI on the daily. Not only is it in the oversold conditions down to around 23, you can also see price action held higher, closures, yes, but it made lower lows on the RSI, even with our circle 4 and potentially even our circle 2, right? So yeah, even made a lower low than back here. So hidden bull divergence coming in. Be aware that volume is coming up a little bit. Hopefully that's just because it's your wave 3 of C, which is typically your most displacing leg of C, right? So in all reality, the thing we're looking for here on Ethereum is some sort of 3-waver to the upside, a final motion down to around this 1800 range. Now, I also want to be aware that I counted this for shit, and it's more 1 2 1 2, and we make a 3 4 3 4, and then a final fifth, right? If that happens, so be it. I'm going to buy Ethereum again. But my next purchases on Ethereum will come in around 1850. Remember, these are areas of interest. They're not exact reference prices, right? So when placing your orders, understand that the market maker is not fucking you, that you might just be getting front run, right? And if you're a working person with a busy life, right? We all get it. We all have busy lives. You're going to want to DCA into these kind of places, right? So let's say for shits and giggles, this is a real true 5-wave motion towards the upside. I hate the math on this on logarithmic, right? It takes a wave 3 to $14,000, 498 for Ethereum, and a wave 5 on average to 31,000. I'm not much of a linear or a logarithmic extension guy when we go on these macros. So in my opinion, I'm going to go with the linear extension targets for this motion towards the upside. I think this is how Ethereum throws off the bears for the cycle and makes a wave 1 into a wave 2. And we go ahead and make a wave 3, 4, and 5. That gives you a cycle top for Ethereum around 9,827 with a wave 3 to 7,619. I am aware I am being super bullish. Again, I did buy this. And so that might be biasing me, but until we see this range end, right, my last 2 purchases, we're back around the 2,700 area. I bought this low and this low, and I'm holding on to it. I'm about 17% down. I'll buy Ethereum again if we get to this 1,800 range that we're talking about. I would much rather see it hold higher, right? But I'm not going to be a bull in the clouds thinking that nothing can go wrong for me, right? So I am aware that this could hold a hair higher and not make it down here to my actual buys. So I will be looking for reversals coming up in the near future. Let's talk about the low time frame, or what I consider the low time frame, the 4-hour view here on Ethereum. If you are right, and this is somehow a 5-wave motion to the downside with 3 up, or even somehow you snuck one in here and this is kind of a 2 in that larger view that we were looking at, you have to wait until you finish a range, right? Because everything in Elliott wave is 1, 2, 3, grind, 4, and 5. Until we get that divergence and finish some sort of 5 down, I really can't support buying the next buy. I have to wait. But that's my views on Ethereum. If anybody has any questions over that one, let me know, and we will talk about it some more. All right, let's go look at micro on this while we go talk about what we have in the chats so far. Let me see if I've missed anything important, and then we will keep going. All right, let me know, guys, if you have any questions in the chat over Bitcoin, or if you have any questions over Ethereum. Yes? All right, 6 would like to see Link. I think this one's a son of a bitch. I haven't bought yet. I was waiting for around $8 or lower. But let's see if I get front run. All right. Nameless Monster, what's up, buddy? How have you been? Hope you've been good. Well, if all you care about is Bitcoin, Jamie, it just got handled. All right. What's up? What's up? Nameless Monster wants us to cover Penguin on DEX. Is that German before that? Nietzsche? Maybe? I don't know. You'll have to tell me, Nameless. I have no clue, buddy, on that one. We'll look for Penguin on DEX, though. Do you have a contract address for that, sir? If you could send me the contract address for Penguin, that would be very helpful. Thank you, dude. So far, we've been going 36 minutes, guys. Smash up that like button. Let's keep this stream going. Let's keep the hype going. Keep the chats going. Hit me up in the comments. That'll get more people seeing the stream. Hit it with a thumbs up. Hit your little reaction emojis, and let's pump up the party and get more people in here, man. Keep the chart requests coming, guys. All right. What else do we got? Most people in crypto aren't traders. They think it's going up. Blah, 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 blah. I would get in buyers. I like this WXY. I like this WXY option. How long would that WXY take to play out? 6 asks. I think you're asking that on Bitcoin, sir. So let's delete everything. If this is W and X and Y is to come, right? Usually that Y leg is around the same timeline as a W, right? So if you measure linear from 0 to W, place it over X so that you're ignoring that section. Your replication for a Y in time is around the beginning of March. So correction until the beginning of March in that Y scenario if you went from here, right? But I want you to remember that if you went from here, it would be something like this. You would need to finish 5 down in A, and then give B, and then give C within Y. Yes? And we typically finish by a 1-to-1, if not sooner. A lot of times the Y likes to get it on a little quicker than the W, right? The other thing that we typically see in a WXY is that they pretty much like to channel pretty decently. Some of the double zigzags might pop out of this thing. But for the most part, a WXY digs a channel. So that's another thing to be remembering. You can see amazing center line reactions here as support. Let's see if we go down, find one under it, find it as resistance. What goes on then, right? But essentially, that's it, sir. All right, what else do we got? Team down, Bitcoin. Let's keep it complicated. Yeah, dude, they're not making these ranges easy, that's for sure. And sea of a flat now. Man, I'm going to watch this Bitcoin. I hope you guys enjoy this, man. I hope it's a good live stream. Yeah, everyone is saying lower, 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 lower. Everybody, dude. Everybody. So if we get the one more poke, great. If not, great. We'll see what happens. All right. What else do we have chart-wise, or am I missing them? Let me know, guys, if I missed any of your charts. What's up, Marco? I hope you're doing good, man. Always popping in. Thanks for all the support on Twitter also, dude. Thank you. It means a lot. What's up, B? I'm guessing you're at work today, my dude. Pop, pop. No 950 then. So far, Marco, you might have just missed Bitcoin, I think. I don't know if you missed Ethereum. All right. ACU is asking for pumps, so let's write that one down. All right, what else do we got? DOGE for Marco. I absolutely hate the DOGE chart, but sure. I think it is a mess. What's up, Andy? You made the live, dude. I hope you're doing good, man. All right, let's keep moving. For Chaz, is the next chart is VELO. Did any of the FARTBOY people show up today? They were talking like they were coming. We ain't seen them. All right, my dudes. Do you remember when we said that we were selling out of this and why? Yes? We said we were selling out because we thought potentially you could have seen a leading diagonal coming up these stairs, right? We were saying, hey, just because of that, we were looking for a 786, so we sold out luckily. That worked out on VELO. We're getting that one more low now that we've been talking about, excuse my click, to finish the potential C wave to the downside. This chart has been doing best on linear, so for now I'm going to stay on linear. I'm seeing this as a potential 1-2, 1-2 going into some sort of 3 into 4s, 3s into 4s, and making a final 5th. I still do think we get some more downside here on VELO into this target box, into the Indiana Jones hat that we drew for our last live stream. That doesn't start until 0.3310. And I would like to say you're all done buying and not looking for any more after the 786, which comes in for Velodrome around 0.2234. The reason we want to be a trader on VELO is because the potential leading diagonal here of 3,726%, meaning that the most common thing to have happen would be to take the highs of the A wave in a C wave. From our target box, our first spot DCAs, that would give us around a 2,600% gain. Yes? So in my opinion, it's worth your time. This we will have to change, not as we find support, right? So right now, we're just waiting for support. I don't think it's in on VELO. I think that holding our spot positions forward, if you need to hold through and you got caught, is just something that you have to do here, right? If we wanted to make this a little more clear as to where we may find support, we could go from 0 to 3 to 4, and we'll turn on our 0.618 for a wave 5 target estimate. That gives us confluence at the 702 retrace support, the 1.236 extension, and the 0.618 extension to start our DCAs around 0.33 area. So be watching for that. I can't say it enough. All right, that's VELO. Let's really quick go look at Algorand for your guy here because he wants some Algorand. I don't like this chart. I think it is looking rather shitty. But if I had to save it, what I would have to do is pull a retracement from low to the high, and I wouldn't be a buyer until we meet at least a 90% retracement, right? So you found the 90% and you lost it. Now what I would have to tell myself is because of this being such basically 3-wave motion towards the upside, it's likely an ABC. I wouldn't be surprised if it ended on high volume. Oh, what'd you fucking reckon that? High volume, ABC sell-off, right? So usually the minimum target is 90%, if not B-wave expansion. So let's look at all of our retracements so that we can see this. We're looking for the 105 as the next target, down to around 8 cents, with the most common area of interest being a 1.236 through 1.382, meaning that Algorand could find itself all the way down here. But let's add some extensions to this motion towards the downside. We have a perfect 3-wave retracement up. We're under the 0.618. I'm guessing we're around the 786 now. And we are not in the most common area of interest. Look, 786 is lost. 786 becomes resistance. 90% retracement becomes resistance on Algorand. it becomes expanded B wave, my dudes, right? So you have A up, B down into the expansion for my first spot accumulation, right? So I'll be looking to accumulate some Algorand in this range. I will do it in $3 cost average. Let's see what we got here. Yep. I will do it in 3, and I'll buy my first spot around 0.0579 on Algorand, and I'll buy my second spot around 0.0470, and then I will hold my third buy order with a like kind of Hail Mary wick here to 0.037. And then I'm going to ride this whip, right? So we would look for a strong 5-wave motion in C. And the beauty of this is everybody would tell you the low is in for Algorand because it's going to be such a beautiful 5-wave motion. Now we can even give ourselves targets for this. 0 to A. Let's go down to the B. Let's say we stop here. We find our most common area of interest. And then we create a 5er out of there. You would typically only take the highs of A here. You'll likely have some battle around it. And then make an extended C leg to 1.618, my dudes. That would be the price to fucking ride this to. Everybody would tell you the super cycle is on. Holy shit, every coin's going to $1 million, right? This is an amazing gain out of this buy box, right? If all we do is the most common target, that's a 10x on ALGO. If not a 20, right? I made a 14x on Pepe last cycle, and I can teach you how to do that, and you can do it for yourself, yes? And you can do it here on ALGO. You're all very, very capable people. All right, if you have any questions over Algorand, hit me up. I think the next thing you guys asked for was something called XBD. XBD. Did my retardation set in? Yep. XDB. XDB. All right. So same concept, guys. What I would want you to be aware of, and what I think you could be seeing here, is even this as a potential A, B, and C to the downside. I don't think it's done yet. This wouldn't be, this one is a little less, I guess, making me less eager to buy. I would have to say this is 3 up. The problem is this kind of comes down in what looks like 5 in Elliott wave. And the reason I say that is because you can see chopping, displacing, and chopping. It makes it a much harder sell. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3. I would hate to say this was a running flat. I'd rather say, yeah, I think that the best thing you can do is wait here. I wouldn't buy XBD. I would rather wait and measure from lows to highs and see what that expansion is. It lines up really well here. If you want to be a knife catcher, I can give you another extension to watch. 0. I just don't think it's over yet. I want to say this makes a wave 3 down to around here and then another low. Yeah, I personally wouldn't buy XDB. I have no interest in this one. Overall, the chart just looks slated to continue a downtrend, right? It does not look super hot. She looks unhealthy. She looks unwell. Let me know in the next live stream or hit me up and we'll cover that one again later. All right, let's cover Miner. I always look to see if they're on Coinbase first. That's my never give up, never surrender. Fuck, is this the best chart for this shitcoin? We looked at it before, I know that. I'd have to say it looks like some sort of range even here, right? Let's check out the RSI and let's see if we can find another one of these coins. This can't be the best it gets, right? Minor. I looked at K size. Let's look on. Never even heard of fucking Weeks. Wix. That's your perpetuals. I guess that's okay. That's worse than the last one. Sorry, dude. I'm just trying to find your chart, or at least the best. For now, it looks like I'm going to have to go with this Cat Gold Minor. Is that a different one? This is fuck. Ugh. All right. So since this is all we got to work with, we're going to do a retracement support from low to high. And because this is not expanded and stopped, we're going to say that that is the highest high. Now, what I would like to be open to is that this is 3 down, 3 up, and making 3 down again in some sort of WXY pattern. This is going to be high risk purchase, but I would look for 1 through 1.236 is my most common. The main issue is that so far you have not taken the lows here, right? So you just keep trending sideways, which is okay. The WXY does not have to take the lows of the prior structure. It's just the most common, right? So if this is somehow an ABC and an ABC and an ABC again and a WXY, that's fine. But I want you to understand that I would be really hard pressed to want to buy here. Let's see where we're at on a 786. If we're holding it, right, this is something that VeChain used to do early in the season. You can see that we lost the 786. So technically, I personally am not really interested until we see 1 through 1.236. So I would rather wait on my hands here and say that this isn't over, right? And that this gives one more leg to the downside, takes the external liquidity out of these lows, right? Because you stop just shy. You stop just shy. Let's sweep those. Let's move into some of this internal bar that was left from behind here on Never Give Up and get into the 1 through 1.236 and look for a strong reversal. The reason we say strong reversal is because we're measuring the inception leg, right? So move up, flag, sideways in a range, if not take lows of liquidity first, and then break upward in the same basically size motion, right? So you're looking for a leg, a connector. Likely this stops between 1 through 1.236. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and say it stops here. And then it would look for a successive motion towards the upside through 1 through 1.382. Okay? So do refer back to this live stream for those values if you need them. If at any point you start to lose this 1.382 around 0.210, it's pretty much shot. So I would move on after that. All right, the next one is going to be hype. I've been looking at this one a lot for the people in the community. I don't know why you guys like it, but you do, and that's okay. In our last community stream, we covered how this could be 3 up, 3 down, and looking for 5 to the upside. We have seen plenty of expanded flats. XRP was a good example of this. Go past the 1.618 and make it to 2.236 or even 2.618. So what I want to be open to here is that this wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and going for 5 within a C. Now, if I'm wrong, happy days, right? But we've been riding it pretty well so far. The people in the community in our last live stream, we talked and we set it up for holding out to actually add in a wave 4. So that would be our whole plan there. And you can see that we come back to the wave 4 retracements beautifully, right? Hold the 0.5, makes a great divergence down here, gets down deep, but price action reaches nowhere as deep as these old pivots. That's pretty good, right? So I'm going to be biased to say that we're working our way up, maybe a choppy ending diagonal for a 5 of C. But I do think overall that's our next targets for hype. So if we go from 0 to 3 to 4, that gives us this confluence of targets around $38.15 on hype. If at any point in time hype loses our invalidation, right? And for me at this point, with the arcing that we're creating towards the upside, These have to be wave 1 into 2s, wave 1 into 2, wave 1 into 2. You need to start going into 3s and 4s. We need to see displacement towards the upside. I would also place an acceleration channel on hype from the lows of 2 to the lows of 4 to the highs of 3. And I would wait to see, what do we get here at centerline reactions? Do we break out? Do we start to try to make an extended fifth? What do we do, right? Hey, what's up, Happy? Smash it up, buddy. I hope you're having a good day. This is your shit coin. I hope you held on like I told you to in the Discord. We're looking for that wave 5 to the upside. Let's measure from high to low and see if we've made at least a 90% retracement so far. You basically have with the 888, so we're good there. Typically, that ends up taking out the highs, right? So that's something to be aware of. All right, so that's hype or hyper liquid. The next one is going to be Chainlink. We have some scary targets for this one, but it's okay. Sometimes, sorry for all the wiggles. We kind of did this in a live stream in the community. Essentially, this is kind of dependent on how you want to count it, right? I think that what we're making here to the downside is just a simple ABC. I don't think this is going to get quite as bloody as I wanted it to. I would love to see this press all the way down and take these lows and just fuck the project into the ground, but I don't think it's going to happen, right? Right now we're finding the support at a 1-to-1 with a 3-wave motion down. So because of that, I want to be open to the fact that this could be just maybe the start of a correction here or something bigger. I would say my only fear on Chainlink kind of came from having a direct motion and then chop, and displace here, right? And then you make maybe 4s into 5s, right? If these are 1s into 2s and 4s into 5s, that would be worst case because then we're talking about a 3-wave motion with rejection. Instead, I would much rather say that this is a corrective 3-swing down in an ABC and a corrective 3-swing up in an ABC, and that we're making the world's ugliest WXY to the downside. Now, because if we measure from 0 to the lows, you can see that we make it past 702. When that happens, if this is going to be an ABC and W, and an ABC and X, and an ABC and Y, right? The most common thing to have happen here is a complicated Y, meaning that it would be a flat or a triangle, right? So we would still have a long time in correction here because the W takes, I fucking misclicked by a little 1 candle, but it's okay. Takes quite some time, so this Y could take quite some time. It could go out until December of 26, but how could this be bullish, right? That's what I want to ask myself first. So if this is an ABC with an A, and then you make an ABC with an B to 90% or more, and then you give 5 waves to the downside, we could talk about this being an expanded flat within Y, right? So if this is 3 down, 3 up, and we're looking for 3 down again, that this motion in this 3 could get kind of convoluted, right? And that's how you could get Chainlink to go up and everybody say, oh, the bull market's on, the bull market's on, the bull market's on, right? We never lost market structure. Oh my God, we're going to hold and we're going for one more, right? So the thing to remember though is that if you're making a flat from Chainlink, you're looking for at least a 90% retracement, right? And that's from the highs of X to the lows of wherever Y stops, right? So if we turn on our 888 or 90% retracement, where is she today? I like the 888 and the 333. I think they're the best numbers. All right, so if we come back up here, sweep these highs, or even make an expanded B, that would be something that I'd be super open to. A, be to the 105, if not 1.236 to 1.382, and then a sharp 5 waves down. Sweep the lows, freaks everybody out, comes down in 5. Everybody tells you the biggest bear market in history is coming, right? Because then they're going to say 1 into 2, and it's all going down into 3. But instead, it's going to hold. It's going to fucking piss everybody off because it's barely going to take the lows, or maybe not even take the lows on Chainlink, right? So something to be aware of. All right, let's see what else we have left. Penguin. I don't think you gave me a contract address for Penguin yet, sir. Are you still here, my guy? Nameless. Let's go see if I can find it without your help. The deck screener always pisses me off. All right, so I'm going to go with the highest one. Guessing this is the one you want. Motherfucker. All right. It looks better on log than linear. But at least the correction makes sense on linear. Oh, my dude said he put it above. Let me go check. Sorry, guys. The chat is on fire. There it is. Penguin. Oh, maybe this is a different Penguin 6. Let me see if I can copy and paste this out of the chats. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Let me know if this is the one you want. Fucking computer. All right. Is it the same or different? Yeah, it's the same. So I did okay. All right. So, fuck, dude. To me, it looks like something that's not over yet. But the problem is, I think this is going to end up looking better on linear. You would have to say this would have to be some sort of fucked up WXY, but this Y is taking forever. Let's use extensions. I'm not the biggest deck screener fan. You'll have to decide for you what you want to do here with your chart, whether you're on log or linear. I think because of how fast this ascent was, and it's kind of ending on high volume, and now you're making a 3-wave down, you'll be lucky if it's only the kind of, it just ends here, right? I don't know anything about this project. I don't know the strength of a community or any of this stuff, so I kind of often don't speak to it. But if this is hype just following another coin with a similar name, I would be careful, as it can easily take the lows and never come back, right? So do be careful. For now, I would say that your spot holdings have invalidation here on these lows. And if at any point in time you start to lose this area around 0.02 cents, I would fucking get ready to run for the hills, because I think it's going to get real shitty. If you're lucky, your first leg passes the connector and then gives a partner leg. Yes, but this is so high risk, man. Let's look at this money in this project. You've got good volume. You've got a good amount of liquidity. It's not low cap, but it's still pretty fucking scary. So be careful. Understand that if this is true and you're looking for a leg and a partner leg, you're looking for a move to 1 through 1.382, which is 20 cents to 26 cents. That's crazy, right? So even if someone put $100 in this, right, and they told themselves as long as it doesn't lose the lows, you're looking for a 4 to 6x on your gains, okay? So it's pretty good, but also very high risk. So be aware as a spot buyer, whether, I don't know where you're at, but you know, this is your risk to reward ratio here. It's a 4.54, which is pretty good in the scheme of things, but you're willing to lose $100 if you put $100 in, right? You would have to sell out. So, all right, that's all I've got for something like that. And let's go back to a regular chart and let's look at pump. If anybody has any questions, please do let me know. This is one that we've been tracking in the Discord, as well as on YouTube. I don't think we've made it to our target box yet. I have not bought. I did not mean to make a noob mark there. I apologize. I called the top on this one, and we all took shorts in the community. I can't be the only one. The majority of people, I think, closed in these lows. I don't know if people are still holding. I'm not. But overall, you know, it's a 24% move on leverage, so it's pretty good. So let's get rid of all this bullshit, and let's just talk about it. The next thing that we can do is you can try to say you're figuring this out as a C. I think if you're lucky, it's some sort of ending diagonal in a 1, 2, maybe somehow a 3 is hiding in here and a 4 and a 5, but you would still take the lows in 5, right? And the most common thing to have happen is take the lows of A. So until this takes the lows of A, I'm not buying, right? I'm waiting for this low. I'm waiting for the low to 1.382, if not the golden pocket to the 702 to investigate prior degree wave 4. If we look at this with a fixed range volume profile from 0 to 5, you can see what held us up was the volumes fixed range, point of control. And now when we lose that, we're going to move potentially down deeper, right? I wouldn't even be surprised if there's not a crazy, scary wick. But I'm not a buyer of pump yet, right? I'm just waiting. I'm just being patient. All right, so that's everything I have on pump. You're basically excited about this as a trader because your first motion has an 85% gain. So as a spot trader, you're looking for another 85% gain minimum, right? So if you go from 0 to 5 to these lows, whether it stops at 1.382 or 1.618, nobody knows. And then we wait for the successive motion towards the upside to the 1 through 1.382 so we can figure out if this is an impulsive reversal or just a corrective reversal. Yes? So that's pump. Let's go look at DOGE. Again, this is not my favorite chart. This son of a bitch is as ugly as the day is long. God, my dog is snoring so loud. I hope you guys can't hear it today. She just sawing logs in the background, man. I do not understand it. Sorry, just need a quick sip. Sip. I don't know about you guys, but these fucking live streams take it out of me. So overall, I think you see that this is not the best chart. Let's see if we can get a longer one here, because it looks like it's in the forever downtrend. All right. What I would hope for Doge is that this is a wave 1 into 2, whether this is some sort of fucked up expanded flat or a wave 1 to the highs and then a 2. I'm not going to argue that today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. Maybe all of this is 4. What I would have to say is my largest fear. Let's just check here. Overlaps. And then 5. I'd hate to say 1, 2, 3. This surely ends in a very direct 5 down, so we can't say a diagonal unless it's all 5s or all 3s, right? So your diagonal has to be a shape like this, and you have within these subwave counts ABC or a direct 5-wave motion. Because this is ending in such a good 5, I'm really curious, is this 3 down, 3 up, 3 down again, WXY and A. This gets as complicated as it can, doesn't it? 3, 3. That looks like a pretty good 5. I'm just going to say that's a B, so let's delete everything. Put our extensions from high. Excuse that first click, we'll go back and fix it. Low to high. In my opinion, I just, Doge isn't one that I really want to mess with. It looks like it's set to come down here, right? My biggest fear is that this was the top of a cycle and that this is all a corrective motion, right? That's to be honest with you, I feel more bearish on it than I probably should be. But in my opinion, you know, you've lost the 236, you've investigated the 382. If it continues to walk its way down these stairs, I do think the golden pocket is kind of the most common area of interest, along with the internal fair value gap that was left behind from the breakout. So personally, I'm sitting on my hands. I wouldn't be buying this. If you want to be bullish, you would have to say again that it instead is some sort of WXY. But again, this W is this long with a huge X and a Y that would need to be done around this time right now. It's hard press, especially with this fucking hideous wick in the price action. I'd hate to say this is ABC, and again ABC, and again some sort of WXY and B, or X, excuse me. I would rather say that it's just about to die, right? Like in some sort of 1-2 stacking to the downside instead in a C wave, and I would rather look for this lows. The only way you would get me to buy anything on Doge would be if you could somehow start to form reversals out of here that we can count on a 4-hour or a daily or something like that, right? So we'll start on an hourly and talk about how and if Doge makes a valid reversal, how would it happen? So this would have to be 5 waves up. It has the look, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. This could potentially be the connector in the correction. And you could be looking at 1-2 stacking, right? Now, invalidation for 1-2 stacking is here when we get bigger in the second one, too, right? So if you have wave 1 into 2 and you make wave 1 into 2, then you could start taking off to the upside into what would be 3s into 4s and 3s into 4s and then a final 5th, right? So let's be watching Doge on the hourly. I definitely think it's worth watching to see what's going on there. Okay. All right. That's all I have for Doge. Pop, 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 pop. Someone asked for FARTBOY. Let's see what else we got. So far, it looks like the only chart is FARTBOY. Someone's making fucking coffee in a microwave. It makes me sick. Who does that? I would rather just have no fucking coffee. I'm not putting that shit in no microwave. Oh, dude, you got to put the littles to bed. I get it, Marco, man. With 5 kids, it feels like the bedtime routine takes quite some time. I don't know. Have any of you parents in here ever been nap trapped? You just, like, in there putting the kid to sleep. Bang, it's on top of your arm. You've been fighting this for like an hour, and the kid's just not going to let you leave, man. I've just said, screw it, dude. My night's over. I'm just going to go to sleep. All right. It looks like FARTBOY is the only chart that I have left. So I will go look at that. Besides that, I have nothing else. So if you guys have any other charts, get them in the chat. If you don't put them in the chat, and then we'll be done. We've been going for an hour and 13 minutes. All right. Let me delete that mark. What we're looking at here on FARTBOY is a really easy invalidation, right? So if this can somehow start to form a pivot here, then you could talk about this low being in a wave 2 or a B, right? But until we can start to see movement to the upside, this plan is not for shit, right? So you've already hit the 786 retracement put from low to high. If you begin to lose your 786 retracement support, it's typically over. Invalidation's easily shown on the chart here at 0.007543. We need to start making motions towards the upside in a 5-wave manner in C or 3. All right, so if this is A, looking for B, and going for C, great. Most common thing to have happen is take the highs of A. Move into 1 through 1.382. If it's going to get bullish, it goes for a 4. Pulls back 2 extensions in a wave 4 and pushes up in a 5. So you need wave 3 to at least hit 0.17224 to be bullish on this. Oh, did someone ask for XRP? I fucking hate XRP. Ugh. God, you guys like threw in 12 more things after. Let me write these down really quick. So we did FARTBOY. And then you want, it looks like someone asked for silver. Dude, the dog that's snoring, guys, is about 20 feet away from me. And she's just cranking him off. Yeah, we'll look at silver, sir. If you're asking silver questions, Nameless, you really got to get in the Discord, man. We did a massive live stream over silver and gold. I will break down some of silver here, but I'm not going to go in as depth as I do in the Discord, right? I tell them exactly how long in correction, what we're looking for, our DCA zones, when, where, and how, right? I don't really do that on the live stream, but I will give you my best. And then somebody wants me to look at XRP for some reason. I have two scenarios for it. One is it's dead as shit, and one is that it's not dead. So we'll figure that out as we go. But first, let's finish FARTBOY. So this is your synopsis for FARTBOY. This is your roadmap to be watching. The next thing that you guys want to look at is silver. We just did an in-depth analysis for the community, so I'm certain it's still on here. I am not a buyer of silver yet. I am not going to break down in depth what we covered before we got to this portion of the chart. So for now, we will just cover an hourly. If this is going down in some sort of 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 into 4 stacking, I really want to be open to a potential 5 coming down to around $65, if not a hair lower, right? We have a lot of displacement. The thing that you should always be looking for in Elliott wave is the chopping leading to displacing and chopping and then one final motion. If we can get this, I think 65, something like that, is a great range to be looking for silver, right? Oh, good, you bought out at 75. What did you get it at, Addy? Did you buy some? I haven't bought yet. I'm still holding the half that I have, but the half that I've DCA'd out and the 75% that I DCA'd out of gold before the drop, all that is going to all go back in on silver. I will only be DCAing into silver, right? I own 25% of my gold still. I'm going to hold that. But, you know, that's what I'm doing. All right. So that's essentially my plans there on silver and all I have. I think that this is only the first leg of a correction in A, looking for some sort of connector in a B. We'll cover that connector when we get there and the time comes, and then a successive 5 wave down in C. Technically, at no point in the time should we really see it losing the $50 range. I think we are DCA buyers all the way down to 58, if not a little wickage under. And we have to understand that that's a highly volatile market with a lot of emotional people involved right now. They just went through a euphoric phase, and now they're finally getting punched in the fucking throat. So just be aware that they could dump her a little harder than we think. Okay? All right, so that's silver. Unfortunately, you guys want me to go look at this shit coin. I hate it with a passion, but we're going to cover it. There's 2 ways that I can see this being over. Yes, this is my first count in the way that I think I like it the most, right? So that would be a primary top in for wave 5, looking for the first leg down and correction of an A, and then a potential bounce in a B, and then a successive move down in a C, right? So if this is true, then we'll talk about, you know, this area later, that sub-dollar, right? Sub-dollar for right now is my major target area for XRP. Now, if you want to be a bull, let's go to this chart. Let's delete this. And this would be where we have an ABC instead, right? So some sort of flat style structure, 3 down, 3 up, 5 down. And we're looking for this to be over somewheres in here if not a push to 1.618. You can even see chunks of volume here, right? Where this range was. So we got to be aware of that as well as the retracements as this comes down. So it would go from low to high eventually to the high before the expansion. And we've already had amazing reactions at 0.236, looking to get to a minimum 382 confluence with 1.236. If I wanted to be a spot buyer and I was a bull on XRP, I would be saying that likely this is wave 1 into a 2, right? So how I would look to handle that is likely my first DCA, a very small one there, and my second DCA here. And I would hold a third one in case you see a wick under $1 when people fucking shit themselves, right? So bull scenarios kind of have an average or a fall around that area. So whether it's the first leg down in an A or a C that is ending, it doesn't really matter. What matters most is that after 5 down, we typically see some sort of retracement. Oopsies, I fucking panic clicked it. So in my opinion, let's look for this area of interest. Let's see what happens. But overall, if you want to be a spot buyer, this is that XRP box to be buying. It's a great opportunity. You have confluence of retracement supports and extensions. I wouldn't buy again, in my opinion, until we got that second cut if it happens to 114. But I would be a first buyer around 147, 147.56. And I would look for my second buy around 114, and then a third buy, I'd say at 89 cents. So I hope today's live stream was helpful for you guys. We basically have covered everything we needed to cover today. If anybody has any questions in the midterm or until we have another live stream, which will be on Monday for the YouTubers, and we'll be doing them all week long in the Discord. So do come on in the Discord and say hi. Pop on in on a trial roll. Some of the stuff's not going to be visible to you. We actually made a ton of our own indicators. Well, we didn't, but 34 EMA did. He did some magical work, has some great indicators that have something like a 38 straight win rate so far. We also do education in the community. We chat daily. The place is on fire all the time with tons of charts. I almost said charts. We don't ever share charts, but we always do share the charts. So come on by, guys. Say hi. Don't be shy. And I'm so excited. And thank you all for your time and for being here today. Catch you later.